All right, guys. This is the fourth video. Okay, so you'll see that number four. It's the fourth video for this week. Okay, so number four. This is a continuation of the notes. This is part two of the notes. That's video four. You'll see that in the title. Excuse me. So we were just talking about food webs, food chains. What we're going to talk about now is some key terms that are going to be given when we talk about trophic levels. Okay, we discussed a little bit about what the organization looks like within a trophic level. Let's break it down a little bit. Okay, so some key terms that we can get from this. Okay, herbivores. Looking at food webs, food chains. We'll go back for a bit. Okay, food webs, food chains. You can see there are certain animals that eat just plants, certain animals that eat just animals or things like organisms. I guess not organisms, animals specifically. Or there are some animals. Are there animals in that photo that do that? No, there are not animals in that photo that do that. But there are animals in real life that eat both plants and animals. Okay, so going forward from here. Okay, so some key terms we can get. Herbivore is an organism that just eats plants. Okay, so those are going to be our bottom level consumers. Okay, so anything in the primary consumer. We're going to talk about why it's called primary consumer in just a second. But anything called a primary consumer is going to be an herbivore. Okay, just primary consumers. A secondary consumer cannot be an herbivore. They can be an omnivore, but they are not an herbivore. Okay, and I'll explain that in just a second. Okay, carnivore. Carnivores are organisms that consume animals. Okay, so the snake is going to be a carnivore. The eagle is going to be a carnivore because the snake eats a rabbit and the eagle eats the snake in this example. Okay, so carnivores, things that eat animals. Okay, omnivores eat both animals and plants. Sorry for the yawn. When you talk into more specific biology, there are different things you'll come across. You'll come across things called true omnivores. Now, there are only a few things that can be considered a true omnivore. Mostly things are either herbivores or they're carnivores to a varying degree. Okay, some things are called an obligate carnivore, an obligate herbivore. Okay, they choose to be an herbivore, but when the going gets tough, they will switch over. Okay, those are crazy stuff, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about those three: herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. Okay, but what about consumers? Okay, we labeled earlier. Let's see. Let's go back. There we go. Oh, I went back too far. Here, roles: decomposer, producer, consumer. Okay, but if you look at our photo here, we have primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Okay, those are all consumers. So to label each of the consumers, they number it based off of how high up it is on its level. Okay, so from the food chain or the food web, how high up is it? Okay, so primaries, they're the first consumer. So those are the things that eat plants. Primary consumers eat plants. Okay, snake. So in this example, rabbit is going to be our primary consumer. Okay, so in this example also, snake is going to be our secondary consumer. That's the second thing in the food chain. They're the thing that eats the primary consumer. Okay, they're the first one technically to eat meat. They're the first one that can be considered a carnivore. Okay, so rabbit can only be considered, or a primary consumer can only be considered an herbivore. They're the only thing that can be. The secondary consumer, the snake, can be the first one to be qualified as a carnivore. Okay, and if we look at the next one, third, tertiary means third consumer, it's the third one up. Okay, some special chains can have four, quaternary, like quarter. Okay, that's how I kind of remember it. Quarter, it's a fourth of a something. So quaternary is a fourth one up. Okay, the next one would be, I think, pentenary, but I don't think you could have a pentenary consumer. I've never seen a chart with a pentenary consumer. but we'll see. Oh, all right. Hopefully, last yawn. Um, what we see with those, that's just how we organize them, so we know what level they come from. Okay. So if we look back, go one over food web. Okay. So if we look down here, first thing, our producer is going to be our grass. Okay. Grass gets eaten by the primary consumer, which is the grasshopper. Okay. So primary consumer, grasshopper. Then it's going to get eaten by the shrew, which is our secondary consumer, which is then going to be eaten by the hawk, which is our tertiary consumer. And they have no arrows going anywhere. They're done. Okay. So if you go from grass, that's producer, to primary consumer, now it can move to insect eating bird. So now it can go to secondary consumer. That's a different secondary consumer than this one. Okay. But they're on the same level. Then they can go to the hawk again. Okay. So now it's going back to the tertiary consumer. Okay. Kind of see how this all works. They're all kind of connected. They connect in different ways. Okay, so we'll go one more. Okay, grass to grasshopper. Okay, now that can go to the shrew, which then can be eaten by the snake instead. So this is going producer, consumer, primary consumer, secondary consumer. This can go tertiary consumer. Now the hawk can become a quaternary consumer, or the mountain lion could be the quaternary consumer. Okay, so now we go producer, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I guess if you were to put like humans into it, like if we ate mountain lion, then that would be the pentanary, but I don't know, that's a little ridiculous. Okay, so we went through that, talked about our consumers. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, you've been seeing some of these other things with different energy units here. There's a little math involved. Okay, nothing too serious, little math. What this is showing is it's showing energy transfer per level. Okay, all of the energy is going to be passed through the trophic levels through consumption. Okay, except for the first one. Okay, producers. It starts from the sun. So the sun is going to give off energy. Plants are going to produce energy from the sun. Okay, so in this example, it's producing 10,000 kilocalories. So it's producing a lot of calories. What's going to happen is the rabbit is going to eat a producer. They're only going to get a little bit of that energy. Okay, they're only from 10,000 calories, they're only going to get 1,000 calories. Okay, it's what we call the 10% rule. Okay, as something is getting consumed, it's only going to give 10% of that energy to the next level, whatever is eating it. Okay, most of it is going to get off, or is going to be given off as heat. Okay, that's most of the energy we lose is through heat. To maintain our bodies at a specific temperature takes a lot of energy. We lose most of the energy to that. Okay, so producer's going to make 10,000. The rabbit is only going to get 1,000. It's going to get 10% of what was in the previous one. Okay, it's going to lose 90% of it to heat loss. Then the rabbit's going to get eaten. The snake is only going to get a tenth of what the rabbit had for energy. So the rabbit had 1,000. The snake only gets 100 kcals, 100 kilocalories. Okay, they're going to lose 90% of it to heat loss. The next level, the eagle. Okay, they're only going to get a tenth of the energy. They're only going to get 10 kcals of the energy. Okay, they're going to lose 90% of it to heat loss. Most of it is lost to heat loss. So if we had a quaternary consumer in this, they would get 1 kcal. So if a human ate the eagle, we'll say, okay, they would only get 1 kcal. They would lose so much more energy. Okay, so as you can see, as it goes up from there, you're losing energy mostly to heat. Okay, you're only getting a certain amount. That's why all of these levels have to continue consuming and getting a certain amount of food to stay alive and all these different things. Okay, the energy is transferring, as you can see, from the sun to producers all the way up the levels. Okay, and again, if this was a complete cycle, we would have all of these things being decomposed and that producing nutrients. Okay, at the very end of it. Okay, all right. I think that's going to call it for this. We're ending at about 10 on this one. So this was the 4th video. I will see you in the 5th video. Okay, so if you have any questions, please email me. Thank you.